how's it going? Teacher Brianna and Vance today. I wanted to do something exciting and fun for our spring break activity. So Vance is going to be my sous chef. This is going to be sort of a cooking video, but it might be kind of a series because what we're going to be making today is sourdough starter. Now, if you've ever had sourdough bread or maybe sourdough donuts or sourdough pizza, you start it by making a starter, and it takes usually about a week to make this, but it's only a couple, 2-3 ingredients max. Everybody kind of has their own recipe, and I've tried a couple different ones, and this is one I just thought was the grooviest, and this one actually really worked for me well, but I've still managed to kill it. I've killed it 3 times, and hopefully this time I will be smart about it because it is alive.
It's alive!
Sometimes you can make a starter with the yeast. Yeah. And when you add water to yeast, it becomes an actual living thing. And that's what makes bread rise and makes it fluffy and delicious. But we are going to do this today without yeast. We're going to be using flour, water, and an apple. So that's what you're going to need. You're going to need some flour, water, and a large apple. If you don't have a large apple, you can use 2 small apples or kind of, eyeball it. You're also going to need a kitchen scale for your weight measurement because all flour kind of has a different weight to it. So you want to make sure that it weighs the right amount, and you're going to need 500 grams of flour. So what I'm going to do, might as well just jump in, right guys? I'm going to put my bowl right on top of the scale, and I see that it weighs about 100 grams. So I am now going to add 500 grams of flour to this. So it's going to be 600 grams, right? Yeah. He's a really great helper, right? Gonna go and watch his show probably. All right, we did it. 600 exactly. So 500 grams of flour and 100 grams for the bowl. Now, go ahead and set this aside. Oh, thank you. Now, we're also going to need an empty mason jar, which Vance has so wonderfully filled up with his leftover scrambled eggs from this morning. That was really thoughtful of him. Really thought that was nice. So I'm just going to wipe those out of there. All right. Okay, now we will get started with our apple. Now what you're gonna need for your apple is a grater. And we're gonna use the big side of the grater. Yeah, we're just gonna go for it. Do you love sourdough bread? I think you do too. Now that we're all grated, you can put the apple in here, into the flour, all in there. Okay. Now, so need a rag, wipe your hands off. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna mix some of that grated apple into our flour. Probably should have grabbed a bigger bowl. Didn't realize that 500 grams of flour would be so big. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Now, a couple more up here. Okay. So, next, after this is all mixed in there, we add the water. Now, the recipe calls for 360 milliliters of water. I, however, noticed that you might need a little bit more. So I poured about 400 milliliters of water in here just in case. So let's kind of eyeball it. I'll pour most of the water in here. Start stirring. So now that it's pretty mixed in here, still a little flour, I'm going to take off my rings, and I have fully washed my hands before starting, which we should always do. Sing happy birthday twice.
You know, that's not the only song you have to sing.
Let's take a break to wash our hands with Will Ferrell.
I'm never gonna dance again. Guilty feet have got no rhythm. I wanna swing from a chandelier. When the pimp's in the crib, ma, drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Anyway, those are a wide selection of wonderful songs that you can sing while you wash your hands, and why not sing them from the top of your lungs, full voice.
All right, let's do this. Are you ready? I'm gonna just use one hand for right now. Okay. Really make sure you get all the flour that might be stuck underneath our little creation here. And it'll be kind of thick, almost like a paste. Really want to make sure the water gets in all of the flour. All right. This looks great. This looks great. Okay. Get it off my hand. All right. So, check it out. Ooh, that's what it looks like. Very cool. All right, I'll be right back. I'm gonna wash my hands.
Snoo. When the pimp's in the crib, ma, drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
Thanks, Will Ferrell. See you later. All right. I also washed my container here because Vance so thoughtfully put the rest of his breakfast in it, and I wanted to make sure it was nice and clean before we put our baby starter in here. So you want to make sure that the container you use is large because your starter is going to grow. I know. It's going to grow more than double its size. So you want to make sure that your jar can hold it. And you also want to make sure that it's airtight. You don't want any air getting into there because air is actually one thing that can, slow the growth of your starter, but heat is the only thing that will really, really kill it, which I managed to do quite a few times. All right. So we're going to pour our starter into our jar. And it's nice if you could get a really wide mouth jar. This one's kind of narrow, so we'll see. See how careful and talented I am here at getting it out. Alrighty, so we're gonna scrape the sides, get all of our new starter out of the bowl and into the jar. Alrighty. So, let's get it in there. You want to push it down. Okay. So see, this is about halfway full. I probably should have had a bigger jar, but this will just have to do. And yeah, right? Okay. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and put the lid on. And I'm gonna put this in a warm place. So if it's the summertime when you're making this, it's easy peasy. You can just leave it out on the kitchen counter or in a windowsill or something. But right now it's spring, so sometimes it's 50 degrees, sometimes it's 40 degrees, sometimes it's 60 degrees. So the best place for this to live is actually in the oven with the light on and the door closed, but the oven won't be on. That is like the perfect 80 degrees for your starter. Right. But don't forget that it's in there and turn your oven on to bake something like I have so many times, and because you will kill your starter and you can't bring it back to life after that. And it's a real bummer because it takes so long for it to make. So, I mean, for it to grow, it takes so long for you to make it. So we're gonna do this kind of in a series because this now needs to sit for 2 or 3 days, and it's gonna start to bubble and it's gonna grow and it's gonna get big. And then we're going to cut it in half and feed it and then let it grow again for another few days. And then we can start baking with it. All right. So I will see you guys in a few days. Bye. Do you want to say goodbye? Bye-bye.